I'm starting a new life.
Everyone wants to be loved. Everyone wants to be accepted into their respective families and communities. But transitioning from incarceration back into society can be very traumatic. Now, for women, the process of coming home has so many distinctive sets of challenges, but their experiences are often overlooked. So, we at Arc Republic wanted to capture these women who navigate reintegration back into their communities with a lens wrapped in dignity and humanity. To do that, we spoke to returnees and reentry practitioners living in Philadelphia to hear their stories. Welcome to the Being Beloved podcast.
I'm starting a new life. Turn wrongs into right. This is the Being Beloved podcast.
So I have been through a lot of it in my life. I have, I was running the streets. I thought everybody that was my friend. I thought, that, how our stuff ever don't stink and stuff ever like that. And, I have been raped. I have been held hostage. I have been through domestic violence. I have survived being, homeless on the street for many months. I have basically been, I have been robbed. I have been taken, my kindness for weakness. So I've been through it all.
Danielle Hart has fond childhood memories growing up with her grandparents, but as a young adult, she began to make decisions that found herself in front of a judge and facing time. This survivor of domestic violence and single mother of four saw the harsh realities of working class living in Philadelphia when she faced housing issues. As she works to resettle her life, she must redefine relationships and motherhood. This is Danielle's story.
Let's go back to you growing up here in Philadelphia. Where are you from in Philadelphia?
I'm from Bustleton and McGee.
Tell me about the aesthetic of it. What did the neighborhood look like when you were a kid? How did it feel? Was it?
The neighborhood was awesome.
Okay.
We was able to let our kids run outside of and play. The kids let the kids ride their bike. We had the ice cream, the ice cream truck riding around. We had a little when I was growing up, I had a little where I stand on the corner. It was safe. Mm-hmm. And then now, I miss it because I wanted my kids ever to grow up, in that home because my mom and my aunt was maid ever and grew up in that home, and so was I. Mm-hmm. So I wanted my kids to, grow up in that home and everything. But and I try and ask my kids if they remember, and they really, don't remember.
Is the neighborhood still like that?
No.
Philadelphia is consistently ranked as the poorest or one of the poorest major cities in the United States, with a poverty rate of 20.3% in 2023. Numbers before the pandemic show that 23% of Philadelphians lived on less than $26,000 per year and 11% lived in deep poverty. For white poverty rates, it was approximately 12.5% to 12.85%. Now, while this is low in comparison to other racial groups in Philadelphia, it still is significant and indicates that poverty exists across all racial groups in the city.
Tell me about your family dynamic.
I was raised by my grandmama and my grandfather. Mm-hmm. They, my grandma, dressed me, doing my hair. My grandfather, had $1 for me, but didn't have $1 for, nobody else. Mm-hmm. When my mom was well, she tried to do her best ever with me. I can, say that. Mm-hmm. My grandparents, did the best, with me too. And I wasn't a bad child. I was one of them hard-headed children to where you had learned the hard way. Mm-hmm. And plus I had a rough life.
Right.
My dad was there, but he left. So I had no dad ever, no father connection. That's where my grandparents, came in because my mom was, so sickly. So, my parents ever definitely, my mom and my grandfather, and my grandmother definitely tried. I did not come from a, drug home. My grandmama had 16 children in her living room. Yes, the house was very beautiful. My grandmama had the house redone. My grandma was like me. She wears a heart, on her sleeve. Like, she fed the whole neighborhood. She was good. She was the best. But then once, my grandma ever got sick and everything, and my grandfather passed, it kind of, it went downhill. But I do remember, them taking me to the hospital because I had a croup when I was younger. So, my grandma and my grandfather definitely, did their best for me.
Okay. So where do you feel like it took a change?
It took a change by, my family saying no, that I can't, come with them with, my aunt.
With your children?
With with my children, with my aunt, my uncle, my family and stuff, and because I'm supposed to be your family, like my situation, and you knew me and everything, and you're my my mom's sister and her husband. They just told me no, so that it hurt. And then not having, nobody ever by my side, so, I'm trying to find somewhere to go, because I never lived on the street a day in my life. If I had somewhere else ever to go, if I had family, I wouldn't have been, walking the streets of, Delaware County.
For Danielle, the family unit is everything, but it was the lack of familial support, including multiple incidents of intimate domestic partner violence, that led her to be homeless. Ultimately, it caused her to lose custody of her children.
Every time that times ever get hard, the person ever that I do, appreciate every single day is my kid's grandmother, which her name is Margot Johnson. Since my mom passed away, she has been in my life for me. She has supported me. She supported me through jail. She was has my kids that are right now, helping me take care of them. The reason that she has my children is due to housing issues. Because the family lost my grandmother's house, and I didn't want my kids bouncing on the street ever with me. So I kind of was thought that my friends and my family and stuff, they were my family, but they even they even told me no, I couldn't stay with them.
Is it because you had children?
I don't know. It's because of my children, but either which way, it's not right.
Danielle is one of almost 5,000 people who are homeless in Philadelphia daily. Majority of those homeless and with families are headed by single mothers who often have young children. 90% of homeless mothers have reported experiencing physical or sexual abuse in their lifetimes. These experiences leave a lifetime of trauma and long-term housing instability.
So I kind of, like I said, I basically trust her, 100%. She's taking care of my children. And, if I really need her, I won't hesitate never to call.
Okay. Now, are you seeking custody of your children? Does the grandmother have children?
My kid's grandmother has custody right now.
And Right Not Prosper helps you find housing?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me about that process. How it's been difficult for you?
My house never processed of how, housing issues. Like I said, I had stable housing up into, I'll say my son was 1. Like I said, I was born and raised in my grandmother's house. And then me and my mom and then my baby father had a house on Horrocks Street, which is right up the street from Max Myers. And then my mom ever got sick and went into a boarding home. Because they have like 24 hours, nurse there. And then they moved out, and then my aunt and my uncle, and then everyone, went somewhere else. And I asked them, can me and my children go? And they said no. And that's how, my kid's grandmother got, my children.
But you trust that situation?
Yes. I can see my kids, whenever I want. And plus, every time, I have been there, my kids, have everything. You know, they have a bedroom. You know, she works her butt off. You know, they have Xbox. There's, you know, they're doing great in school. You know, she sends me pictures. You know, always make sure they have stuff for their birthday, even if I don't have. You know, so I'm truly, truly blessed, you know, to have her in my life.
Great. It sounds like from your story that the system kind of failed you in a number of ways, right?
Yes.
What do you think, what type of support do you think that you needed that you did not get?
The support that I needed was, you know, to have a stable household, you know, for me and my children, you know, so I can work and save up, you know, money and, you know, get on my own, like to where I went to different programs. You know, people has called DHS over on me, and then I actually told them that, you know, I needed help get my own, and they totally ignored me.
The Department of Human Services?
Yes.
Okay.
Which I was dealing, like I said, which I was dealing with them prior to me living in Upper Darby with my ex-boyfriend. And what happened ever with that was, you know, everything was fine. I was going to my visits. I was getting the letters from Jefferson, my doctor's office. I was doing everything the judge, you know, wanted me ever to do. We went back to court, and the judge ever court ordered me to be a part of my younger son's school and medical. How he got into the system was that my younger son's father, he took him for a weekend and refused ever to give him back. My younger son was born at 29 weeks because I had placenta previa. He was born at Einstein. So he was in, I stayed in the NICU. I basically lived at Einstein Hospital. And then my son never came home in the car seat and the heart monitor and everything else. He called me and said, can he have my son for the weekend? I said, yes, ever, it's not, you know, a problem. So that's when he took him for a weekend, refused ever to give him back.
So it sounds like a lot of your issues, I'll say, in life, it have stemmed from your romantic relationships. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, and then also, you know, my family as well.
Danielle's incarceration is very similar to the trends in the U.S. Nationally, women are disproportionately incarcerated for property and drug offenses rather than violent crimes compared to men.
Upper Darby police needs to be investigated because of, you know, how do you just go to say, okay, let's drink what's called, you're getting violated for breaking the glass, but you really broke the window. You know, which I never put my hands on him ever. Like, I've never done anything, and you know, and it was only $100 window. It's not like I broke, you know, like I said, all of them, and you know, like, it was cold outside, and I just wanted, you know, to go back in the house. And it's not even the landlord pressing charges. It's him. They're having him.
Oh, he pressed charges.
Yes,
against you.
the landlord's not even pressing charges, and it was all over because I want to have sex with him. And he said that if I would have sex with him, that, you know, I wouldn't be going through all this. And then after that, he got another PFA, which I went to court on the 15th. Prior ever to me going to court before, when the PFA got served, me and you, I'm still living homeless on the street. I tell the cops, because he comes home, he sits at the top of the steps of the apartment, and he comes home and tries to grab my phone, but grabs my cigarette pack ever and pushes me down the steps and makes me break my wrist. I tell the Upper Darby police, and they said that we can't do anything. Tell the judge ever on September 15th. On September 15th, Judge Love and media threw out the PFA. Said because he thought that he was scared for his life and everything else. And then after that, of course, I go back home.
With him?
Yes. I knock on the door, and he calls the police. The cops ever basically detained me, did not Mirandize me at all. They detained me ever in the car and put me in handcuffs.
We hope that you are enjoying this important podcast, the Being Beloved podcast. Did you know this was the first ever podcast of its kind to feature the narratives and stories of formerly incarcerated women in Philadelphia? We hope that you share, listen, and care, and as well donate to Arc Republic, an independent media news source, delivering real news, robust news from traditional and non-traditional journalists and reporters. Now that you are out and you are transitioning back, how do you want to, what does home look like? Because you're going to have to create your own home now. What does that, give me the layout, the emotional layout, the physical layout, everything. Paint it for us.
Let me see. A home is having a nice backyard, with a grill. I'm gonna learn. With a nice like swing and a porch, tables. So, cause I like basically, being outside, listening to music, having the kids run around, having, with my dogs, which I want a pit bull, a German Shepherd, and a Rottweiler. The apartment, as far as goes, I can say, say the white walls, but then, buy the stickers and decorate it, next. Which I changed my clothes 100 times, so, I'd be like, no, let's go get these stickers, or, but then I also, I want to have, like my own room, my own bedroom set, my own dressers, my own, like, nightstand, like, with a mirror, my walk-in closet. I want, my sons to have, like, their separate rooms, since my oldest is 15 and my younger one's 10. My son, as far as like his room ever goes, is just having like a boy color. Because eventually, he's going to be 18, so I don't want to have him as like a child room. And have like his own little Xbox or like PS5, which he did ask me that, he wanted. And then have his own like little TV, to where he can have his own, be comfortable and then be able to do his school homework, his homework in there and study and, actually, learn whatever it is to, have his own privacy, but to a certain boundary, to a certain extent.
So how does the emotional layout of your home feel?
The emotional layout is that, when I'm with my children, nothing else matters. Like, they are, my world. Eventually, I want to try ever and give like love, another shot ever again, because I can't, as me sitting down ever and thinking, going through ever all this, I can't, put what somebody else done to me, onto somebody else, because it's not the same, person. I'm just woke up and smell the coffee. I'm more clear now, and and let them know, what I've been through, and if they're not comfortable ever with that, then they gotta go.
So I want you to imagine talking to your daughter. Tell her how a woman is to be loved.
How a woman ever is to be loved. When a man loves a woman, he should want to be there, for you. Be your shoulder, to cry on. Want to be like a comfortable, like be your best friend. Want to make sure that you're safe. Make sure that that you're okay at all times. Make sure that all the bills is paid, and make sure that you're stable. And making sure that you guys trust, because without trust and communication and honesty, there's really nothing. So long as it don't matter how mad he gets, as long as you tell him ever the truth ever, he will better respect you.
Okay. And then finally, tell her how to love herself.
How to love yourself is how mommy learned ever how to love herself is as growing up, I had a hard life, but I just made sure I always found what I love, like us watching a movie, or us singing, dancing to Frozen, or going over to the park and go and get ice cream. Really just really having fun, and go and get your nails done and go shopping. Our little like TikToks ever that we do, or little Snapchats. My daughters is just my daughters and my kids is my life. Like I said, when I'm with them, like nothing else ever matters. And I see my daughters and myself. With wanting the phones and nice stuff, and nails painted. And just they're me, and they will always be my everything. As long as I got my children to give me strength and keep me going every single day, and I got my kids' grandmother, that's that's all that matters.
Okay. And moving forward, what are you doing to heal yourself?
What I'm doing ever is I'm at Why Not Prosper. Why Not Prosper has been the best ever place. Has saved my life. Because if it wasn't for Not Prosper, I don't know where I would be. Might be still in the street, might still be in jail. I just don't know. But for Miss Rev has been awesome. She makes sure that we eat every single day. She makes sure that we take showers. She makes sure that I stay on the right path. And she teaches us structure, stability. Keeps us ever on a schedule. To where it makes it easier for us when we go out there. To our own homes by ourselves.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you that same question one more time, but I only want you to talk about you.
How it helped me is that they have gave me a place of best people caring together. On my medication, I have positive people around me. I have grew to have a whole new family. I have it's like sisters from another mother. I have people that I can turn to, and I know that in this world now that I'm not by myself.
Okay, so the family was the most that was your saving grace.
Yes.
This concept of family.
Yes, because I've always been surrounded by family, and knowing that I have family now, and I have positive people around me, and I have the structure and everything I need to be the woman that I need ever to be.
I'm starting a new life.
We would like to thank the Valentine Foundation for providing the seed grant to make this podcast series happen. As well, a huge shout out to the LinFest Journalism Institute and the Knight LinFest Transformation Fund, where the Being Beloved podcast was developed under the Philadelphia Media Founders Exchange program. And also, thank you to Love Now Media, who signed on as our first community media partner. Plus, we must recognize 5 Shorts Project and Sunkiss Group for giving the support we needed to finish this epic first series and bringing the project to Cherry Street Pier number 9 for a live launch. Now, if there's anyone on the inside listening to this podcast, know that we see you. And for those coming home, know we embrace you and wish you a healing journey and transformation. Until next time, be beloved, beloveds.
I'm starting a new life, turn wrongs into right. This is the Being Beloved podcast.